Good afternoon, and thank you all for standing by. For the duration of today's conference, all participants' lines are on a listen-only mode. Today's conference is being recorded. If you have any objections, you may disconnect at this time. It is my pleasure to introduce Ms. Janet Gordon. Thank you, ma'am. You may begin.
Good afternoon, or if you're pretty far out west, maybe it's still morning. I'm Janet Gordon, Associate Director of Community Affairs at the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, or FDIC. I oversee our community affairs staff nationwide from here in Washington, and we really have two different functions. We promote economic inclusion at the local level through collaborations really with federal, state, and local partners. And for example, we brought together a lot of our SBA resource partners and banks over the past year. And we also produce and distribute and hopefully market financial education resources like Money Smart for small business, and we have a whole suite of products for young people and for consumers. So we're glad to welcome you to the last Money Smart for Small Business Town Hall of 2017. We've got participants from all over the U.S., and based on about 300 registrations we received for this event, we know that some of you have not used Money Smart yet, and some of you may not be Money Smart Alliance members yet. And we're looking forward to today's program, and we hope it'll help you to move forward with your plans to implement Money Smart and join our Money Smart Alliance. So since we've got first-time attendees, we have to go over a few housekeeping items. We want you to recognize that Money Smart for Small Business Town Halls are intended for intermediary organizations, like financial institutions and like nonprofits working with entrepreneurs. The Money Smart Alliance community is really a community of practice for organizations using or considering using Money Smart curricula. We'll use the acronym MSSB going forward to refer to Money Smart for Small Business, and you know you can't get out of a federal webinar without using a new acronym. So today we're featuring two invited guests, and we're thrilled to have them. The Columbia University Small Business Development Center in Harlem, New York, and the U.S. Small Business Administration South Carolina District Office. The SBDC in New York has had real great success using the MSSB cash flow module. They schedule a variety of sessions in the year that each attract about 60 to 90 entrepreneurs seeking counseling services at the center, and we hope we'll learn a lot from their experience. The SBA district team has adapted all of our MSSB modules or topics for webinar delivery, and as we all know in this world, we can't all be everywhere, and webinars are an important way for us to communicate. Both organizations use innovative, replicable approaches that can give us ideas and new ideas to design your own MSSB program. So the FDIC developed MSSB in collaboration with SBA, and SBA continues to be a very important partner for us, and they also have a network of partners that work directly with financial institutions and other intermediaries to help deliver MSSB to entrepreneurs. As always, we have a representative from the SBA's Washington office to join me in welcoming today's participants. Nathaniel Bishop works in the Office of Entrepreneurship Education. Nathaniel, please introduce yourself and tell us about the SBA District Office and introduce our SBA speaker from South Carolina. Thanks much.
Good afternoon and good morning for those who are out west. And Janet, thank you for that introduction. What a special opportunity to be here today to highlight the Money Smart for Small Business curriculum and the SBA district offices. In today's competitive global landscape, small businesses face major opportunities and challenges. That's why financial capability is vital to entrepreneurs and small business owners trying to plan, launch, manage, grow, and succeed in the marketplace. Whether your target market is global or your local neighborhood, SBA's network of district offices are here to help with accessing capital, mentoring, training, government contracting, and loan assistance after a natural disaster. But our work hasn't happened alone. Just like any seasoned entrepreneur can tell you, Effective partnerships are pivotal to an organization's success. Our SBA district offices are partners for success. The SBA district offices are responsible for marketing all SBA programs and services through outreach, training, and education to various organizations and small businesses. They are also responsible for building and maintaining collaborative alliances and partnerships with SBA resource partners, such as SCORE, Small Business Development Centers, or SBDCs, Women's Business Centers, or WBCs, and local economic development organizations. I would like to thank Savannah from our SBA South Carolina District Office for joining us today to highlight how she implements the Money Smart for Small Business curriculum. In closing, I encourage you all to partner with SBA district offices to amplify your efforts to support entrepreneurs, create jobs, and fuel our economy.
Thank you, Janet and Nathaniel. I am Paola Diaz, Senior Community Affairs Specialist at the FDIC, focusing on economic inclusion opportunities related to small business. I support our community affairs specialists nationwide to assist organizations that are using or considering MSSB. Again, welcome and thanks for investing this time to learn details about why it might be beneficial for your organization to start using MSSB. First, a disclaimer that any reference to any specific organization during this presentation does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation or favored by the FDIC. In your screen, or slide 4, you have a model of our webinar platform. On the left-hand side, you should view the slides, and on the right-hand side, you should view various functions. You can download the presentation if you go to number 2, but all registered received the slides prior to this event. Participants can communicate by using the chat or the Q&A function, and anyone can ask questions at any time or during the designated time for question and answers by using the Q&A feature, which is the number 4 in your chart. When using the chat or Q&A functions, please use the window number 7 to type your question and make sure you hit send, number 8. If at some point you lose the slides, look for a green and blue circle icon, number 1, in your taskbar or reopen the webinar link. We will conduct 3 polls for instant feedback about today's event. The polling questions will pop up on the right-hand side of your screen, or number 9. Please test the chat function while I finish my remarks to ensure that it is working. And if you're having technical difficulties with the web access, please contact Centra Care or call the troubleshooting number on slides 2 and 4, or simply follow us with the slides that were sent to you earlier today, also available at the event website in the Webinar Info tab. The agenda for today includes very brief reminders, mostly for first-time attendees, and 2 speakers, one from the SBA and another one from the Columbia Business School Small Business Development Center. This and other MSSB Town Hall webinars since 2016 are recorded. It takes a couple of minutes to join the Money Smart Alliance by completing an online form. The MSSB Train the Trainer curriculum allows you to host training for instructors anytime. If you want help planning a Train the Trainer event, please email me. My contact information is in the last slide. Our credit and banking module update is underway. Please provide your feedback directly to me. Anyone can download MSSB modules and flyers in English and Spanish for free at the FDIC catalog or SBA Money Smart website, shown in slide number 6. All other information about MSSB, including the MSSB town halls, etc., can be found at the FDIC Money Smart page. We will address questions we received during the registration process at the 2 designated question and answer segments. Please be reminded that all participant lines are muted. Our guest speakers will introduce themselves and their organizations, followed by a description of how they use MSSB. First, we will hear from Savannah Wilburn, Economic Development Specialist from the SBA South Carolina District Office. Savannah, please go ahead.
All right, thank you, Paola. And thank you, Nathaniel and Janet, for that introduction as well. So as you have heard, my name is Savannah Wilburn, and I'm one of the Economic Development Specialists with the South Carolina District Office. I started with SBA in 2015 with the El Paso District Office, but I'm a military spouse, and my husband received orders to Shaw Air Force Base in South Carolina, so I just moved to the South Carolina District Office in May. I've also worked for 2 other federal agencies, including the Department of Defense and the VA, and I have past experience as a loan officer for a credit union. My education is an MBA in Finance from the University of Texas at El Paso and a Bachelor's in Communications from the University of Maryland University College. So just some fun facts about the South Carolina District Office. We are a team of 9 employees. We have 8 here in the capital of Columbia, and we also have 1 representative in the alternative work site in Charleston. And there are 3 economic development specialists in our district office, and our role is to provide training, marketing, and outreach, and basically promoting SBA's brand throughout the state. The role of the district office is to promote the SBA's 3 C's, capital access, contracting assistance, and counseling. We do our counseling through our SBA-funded resource partners, such as the SVDC, which you'll hear from later today, and SCORE. And we service the entire state, and we provide free trainings and face-to-face and webinars throughout the state. Our main presentations that we do are Federal Contracting 101, Financing Your Small Business, and various workshops on starting a business and business plans. We started the Money Smart for Small Business in July of 2017, and we presented 1 module each week from 9 to 10:30 every Wednesday morning. All of our registration was done through Eventbrite and the SBA website. And we did this in a webinar format because it allows more participants throughout the state and also throughout the country. And also, Money Smart for Small Business offers topics that were not commonly offered throughout the district offices. And these webinars are only just one form of trainings that we do in a webinar format throughout our district office. Our district office team is very well versed in doing webinars. Every single member of our team does webinars, and we do them on a frequent basis. So our target market for the Money Smart for Small Business were startups or individuals that were thinking to start a small business. What we actually ended up having in the webinars is new and future business owners, but we also had established business owners looking to improve on their business processes. We also had the SBA resource partners like the SVDC and SCORE. And since you're not going to be hearing from SCORE later on, I will tell you that SCORE is another great resource partner that we have that provides one-on-one counseling through current and retired business owners that volunteer their time to mentor other aspiring business owners or current business owners. We also have community experts on the call, such as lenders, financial advisors, and accountants. As for attendance, we had about 70 to 30 per module. Depending on the modules, we had more attendance. Our tax planning and record-keeping modules were the ones that we had the most. They were mostly from South Carolina, but we also have participants from all over the country. And the participant feedback was very positive. We did all of our feedback through SurveyMonkey, which is also a free program, and all of the responses that we received were positive. The way we customized Money Smart for Small Business for webinar usage is we relied heavily on Eventbrite. Eventbrite is a free program that you can use to market your events. And we created an event on Eventbrite with a custom confirmation email that would be sent to the attendee after they registered that would provide the conference information and phone number to connect to the webinar. And then we would take that link from Eventbrite and post it onto our district office webpage. After we did all of that, we would take that information and send it out through GovDelivery, which is our version of Constant Contact. We have about 33,000 subscribers throughout the state of South Carolina, and that is where we get most of our registrations. Once the participants registered for the webinar under Eventbrite, they would receive an automated email that I set up prior to the webinar that would reiterate the conference information, and it would also send them a link to the participant guide. After they had the event, they would also receive another automated email that would have the link to the SurveyMonkey survey. The webinar platform that we used was AT&T Connect. And how you use this program is first you want to log in with a link and access code provided like any other software that you may have. This is only one option of software that you can use. You will also need your host code so that you have the host access. Then you're going to share the presentation by either inserting your materials or sharing the PowerPoint application. My recommendation is that you don't share the entire screen, because when you share the entire screen, the participants can see any messages that you are sent. So if you just share the PowerPoint application or you insert the materials into the application, it prevents any distractions for the participants to see all the messages that you're being sent. Also, make sure that you encourage participants to mute their audio and reduce any background noise. And if you are receiving any feedback or background noise during the presentation, you can either choose to mute all of your participants, or you can go to each participant and mute them separately if you know where the background noise is coming from. Also, because you are muting a lot of your participants, you want to make sure that you're looking out for any hands that are raised and any questions that anybody may have. For me, the ground rules that I established in our webinar up front would be that it's very informal and that if anybody had any questions, they could stop me at any time to have me answer them for them, because I didn't want them to lose those good questions that they may have. The SBA local district office partnerships that we had to deliver Money Smart for Small Business were different lenders in the community. We worked with TD Bank on the banking services module, Carolina Alliance Bank on retirement and succession planning module, and then South State Bank on the record-keeping module. Some of these people we actively solicited to get their assistance and expertise on our modules. Other individuals were seeing the modules that we were doing and became interested and reached out to us to provide the feedback. We also had active participation from our SBA resource partners such as SCORE and SBDC in every webinar that we had, because they do provide valuable expertise. The goal for the South Carolina District Office for the Money Smart webinars were to encourage participants to go to SCORE or the SBDC to receive that individualized one-on-one counseling after the Money Smart for Small Business modules. And we really wanted to let them know that they are not alone when they're starting a small business. We also felt like the Money Smart for Small Business modules help identify assistance that they may need that they didn't even think about. For example, building a loan package, preparing a business plan, learning a particular bookkeeping software, and so much more. My advice would be to make sure that you keep participants engaged if you are going to be using it in a webinar format, and really face-to-face format as well. But I think it's a lot harder to keep those participants engaged when they are on the webinar. So my suggestion to you would be to call on them by name so that you keep them focused and listening, because if they know that you're going to be calling them out, they're definitely going to pay attention to the webinar. Also make sure that you automate the process through Eventbrite or whatever program that you're using, but I found Eventbrite, the fact that not only it's free, but it's also helpful in automating it and sending those emails prior to and after the webinar. I found that really helpful. And also be prepared for technical issues for both the speakers and the attendees. I suggest that you test everything ahead of time to make sure that it's all working and sign on early. That way, if anybody has any issues connecting, you could try to help them out. Also, make sure that you have paper copies of the instructor and participant guides in case technology does fail, because it will fail sometimes. And if you have those paper copies and the system goes down, everybody is still connected on the phone. So they have their participant guides, you have the instructor guides, and you still can follow along with the presentation. And then lastly, just make sure that you're getting your community partners involved. They provide expertise that we don't have in the SBA district office. We're not going to be experts in every single module. So getting those partners involved and providing that extra expertise is essential. What SBA needs from our community partners, we need subject matter experts for the specific module topics, such as lenders, accountants, lawyers, financial advisors, and insurance agents. Please note that SBA cannot endorse any particular product or service, but we do value the expertise that you provide. Also, we need the assistance from our SBA resource partners. We need assistance in helping them to advertise the Money Smart for Small Business, and we also like their involvement and feedback in any of our district workshops or webinars. And we also encourage all of our community partners and resource partners to use these Money Smart for Small Business modules themselves. We can provide, as a district office, the Money Smart for Small Business Train the Trainer sessions so that you can use this product out to your market. And they really are quality presentations. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, and they have well thought out instructor guides, participant guides, tests, and surveys that you do not have to create yourself. So I really recommend doing it. And if you'd like to contact me, I'd be happy to help you if you have any questions on using the Money Smart for Small Business in a webinar format. So if you'd like to contact me, my email is savannah.wilburn@sba.gov, and my phone number is 803-253-3121, and I'd be happy to answer any of your questions. So thank you for having me on today.
Thank you very much, Savannah. We surely know about all the multitasking that takes to provide a webinar. And we are currently trying to get some instant feedback on this segment of the presentation. So I've opened the poll successfully, and we're beginning to see the feedback. And for those of you that didn't have a chance to catch Savannah's email and phone number, it was actually provided in the slide with her picture. So thank you so much for your generosity in sharing that information. Well, at this point, I'm going to invite our next speaker, Glamis Arrow from the Small Business Development Center from Columbia University, to tell us about how she uses Money Smart for Small Business. And when she gets ready, we will be happy to take questions for Savannah or for the SBA. So Glamis, actually, you can hold on just a minute, just get ready while we try to process a few questions that we might get. People are going to take a moment to write their questions in. And we actually have plenty of questions that we received during the registration process. So if there are not specific questions for Savannah at this time, we will address those questions that we got on the registration. Thank you. So, well, we didn't record any questions coming for Savannah specifically, but we're going to take advantage of the opportunity and address at least one question that we received during the registration question. So my colleague Sandra Kerr will read the question. Please go ahead.
Paola, are there any modules that cover small business accounting?
Thank you for the question. So there are several modules that cover accounting, like the cash flow module and record keeping. And those are typically the ones that are offered during tax season and are usually offered in combination. You're going to learn a lot more about the cash flow module during the SBDC's presentation that actually focuses on that module alone. So at this time, we're going to move on, and we're going to give people some time to think about a few questions that they will have an opportunity to ask again in our second segment for questions and answers. Thank you. Glamis, you can get started. Glamis, do we have you in the line?
Here.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, my name is Glamis Arrow, and I am representing Columbia University, the Small Business Development Center. I have more than 15 years of experience in many roles, all related to entrepreneurship and small business development. Thus far, in 2017, the center served 225 entrepreneurs. This translates into 1,471 hours of consultation and facilitation of more than $6 million or access to capital for small business owners. Our center, I'm happy to say that, is ranked in the top center in New York City. Our mission is to provide professional business consultation, training, access to resources, and advocacy to business owners that require our help. As part of our commitment to the business community in Upper Manhattan, Columbia University provides all of its services through us and at no cost to all participants. The Columbia Harlem SBDC markets its service to entrepreneurs in Upper Manhattan, north of 96th Street. If you're familiar with New York City, there are other SBDCs who serve people and entrepreneurs below 96th Street. And our trainings are regarded. Many entrepreneurs are coming to our trainings from as far as Staten Island, Long Island, and New Jersey. Our clients from all business are from all business stages. They benefit from the Money Smart Small Business Cash Flow Training. In this slide, you can see our training process. The first tier is when entrepreneurs are at the idea stage. At that point, we typically assist them with free coaching focusing on the importance of cash flow. Our second tier consists of clients who already have revenue. They are required to take our course, which is Finance 101. This is the Money Smart Cash Flow Module training. This class gives them the opportunity to take proactive steps to be part of the third tier of services. Our third tier is for established companies with revenues greater than $250,000, which is called the Columbia Community Business Program. As you know, for established businesses, cash flow continues to be a key success aspect. Financial fitness is another step of cash flow analysis to see if clients are ready to have or to get access to capital. Cash flow is one of the most important parts of managing a business. That is the reason why I focus on it, and I will use this opportunity to tell you exactly how the Money Smart for Small Business Cash Flow module is used for my clients. I enhance the Wirecap case study by comparing it with the cafeteria in my building. I recommend the attendees to use this concept and apply it to their own businesses as well. The case study provides a useful breakdown of possible startup costs, how these costs are reflected in important financial statements, and how these statements are used when the business needs to make financial decisions like having access to capital. The financial projections that came with the module were a great start for me, and they were helpful in creating a full set of financial projections and financial statements for the next 3 years. As I mentioned earlier, we require Stage 2 entrepreneurs to take our in-case version of the Money Smart Cash Flow module in order to start working with a counselor. I love the fact that I can make changes, add, or remove information as I need it. "90% of our attendees are considered minorities, such as minorities, right? Having an Ivy League school, such as Columbia University, help us significantly to market our workshops. Partners feel proud to help us promoting our events. We also publicize them at the SBA website. All workshops are well attended. We have minimum of 60 attendees per event. So far, we have trained more than 300 participants since we started teaching the Money Smart for Small Business curriculum. In the picture, you can see some of our happy participants holding their participant guides. We have received every positive feedback, and the word is spreading. That is why we excel providing information that is needed. We pre-schedule twice per semester these types of trainings, so clients or attendees do not have to go through a waiting list. I usually ask a few questions to the attendees before we kick off the workshop to get familiar with the audience and manage the participant priorities effectively. They are asked to raise their hands in response to various questions about their business status. An average profile of the Money Smart Small Business Cash Flow Training participant is in this slide. We have a significant portion of undecided participants because some of them come from the Self-Employment Assistance Program at the United States Department of Labor. Those programs participants are required to take at least 20 hours of training in order to receive program benefits. We acknowledge that entrepreneurship is not for everyone. However, we know that knowing how to manage your cash flow is a life skill that participants benefit from whether they go in business or not. They can use it actually in the personal side as well. We hold our classes in person. Attendees are required to bring a laptop or a tablet. At the end of the training, the complete set of financial statements is emailed to all the attendees. They are asked to sign into their computers with a secure Wi-Fi code provided by our technology department. Participants build their financial projections based on their understanding and analysis of the case study. They are asked to work in groups to allocate assets, liabilities, loans, and personal equity where it belongs in the spreadsheet. This is something like a test for them, and just to evaluate where they are, where the entrepreneurs are, just to see whether they understand the concepts or not. In this first part of the financial statements segment, we focus on completing the startup costs and funding. Then we discuss how to allocate the assets in the balance sheet. We discuss the importance of becoming familiar and using financial terms when discussing their business with potential investors, lenders, or bankers, and other professionals such as bookkeepers, accountants, and insurance agents. We put a lot of emphasis in teaching our clients that it is important to manage their business by the numbers. I will show you a few slides that I currently use in my training. For example, as you can see, I have only modified the agenda by adding the financial projections segment. I also keep the same learning objectives and content. I have found that discussing the cash flow cycle is an eye-opener for our participants. They are asked if they know where they are in their business cycle, which we come back to later when we discuss the case study. This is the second original slide with the learning objectives. The importance of managing a business with a healthy cash flow is explained in detail as we discuss the case study and we revisit the concepts learned when each participant works on their own financial projections during class. I put a lot of emphasis to issues that may arise if they don't pay attention to their numbers. I provide small business statistics. I tell stories from prime clients and local businesses from the community, which have cash flow problems that force them to close. I share my experiences working with entrepreneurs that I recommended to close their businesses due to the lack of cash flow. This is the way how I keep them engaged. This is the final slide with the learning objectives. I accomplished these learning objectives by discussing how entrepreneurs can establish processes and merchant services to avoid operating a cash business. I try to persuade my clients that the best way to evaluate their business is by learning to manage it by their numbers. The first way to manage their business by its numbers is to have accounting and point-of-sale systems in place. For instance, use software such as QuickBooks Online, Xero, Mint, Wave, etc. Depending on how developed the business is, the last two software I mentioned, they are resources that are available for free. Clients are also encouraged to seek free assistance in any SBDC, to shop around for financial institution that is willing to serve their business purpose, to open business checking account, savings account, and use their merchant service to take payments via credit card or online. This is actually a way that they can use it to increase their revenues. We also learn the importance of depositing all revenues, including cash sales into their bank account, and to pay expenses with check or via direct pay. All the tips that I provide to entrepreneurs in improving cash flows, also accountability and compliance. As you can see here, this slide shows a resource that has been added to the module. A financial projections template, including formulas, was created by our another organization that SBA Savannah mentioned, which is SCORE, and I use it. I use it because I love it. It's totally simple to understand, and it's easy for our clients to evaluate their finances. This template is about 22 to 23 pages that includes 3 years of financial projections, 3 years of balance sheets, profit and loss statements, break-even analysis, loan amortization, and some ratios. As you can see, that the case study financials were transferred into the financial projections template in this Microsoft Excel page. In the last row, you can visualize in green color, you are fully balanced. This means that all the required information has been transferred into the balance sheet, and it is balanced. In this slide, salaries for the employees in the case study has been entered into the worksheet. This is also an opportunity for attendees to actually see themselves in the future and to recognize the importance of paying themselves. They are encouraged to let the business pay for health insurance, pay retirement benefits, and more. Here, they also understand that 50% of payroll taxes is a business expense, and the other 50% is an employee obligation. This segment takes about 1.5 hours because we go in detail through 22 pages of financial statements that includes profit and loss statement, as I said before, balance sheet, and the projected statements for the next 3 years until they reach break even. So we constantly look at the ratio analysis before determining what determine the first draft of financial projections has been completed. We pay particular attention to key ratios, such as debt to income and return on investment. We use the Money Smart for a Small Business module to make our Finance 101 class, which is offered twice per semester. One of the biggest help we have to advertise our classes is through SBA website, in the training resource page, our website, and also collaboration with some partners or partner organizations in the Upper Manhattan. In our center, we have pre-screened processes before we assign entrepreneurs to an advisor. Entrepreneurs will come to me once they have attended the prerequisite class, which is the Finance 101 and Finance 102. We definitely use our trainings to convert attendees into clients. We rely as well on various organizations to support with marketing, as I mentioned earlier, but we also have partnerships with financial institutions. Startup loans granted by the 2 credit unions, Spring Bank, provide business checking accounts and services, including merchant services. Wells Fargo sponsored the Money Smart for Small Business Cash Flow Module training, Finance 101, for 1 year. Clients need different types of financial institutions at different stages of their business and their lives. My last slide summarizes some of the results we accomplished this year. Money Smart for Small Business is an important start for many clients that creates a mindset they can hopefully carry for many years to follow. It takes a lot of support for the entrepreneurs to materialize their ideas and to be successful. Our SBDC has facilitated over $6 million of access to capital through all our services. I advise SBDCs in the area to visit my classes, to see what we do. Some organizations have come to see what we do, and so they can replicate it as well. I also recommend SBDCs in particular to leverage on their name recognition and the reputation of their host colleges and universities to establish partnerships and promote their events. Another advantage of using Money Smart is that it could be taught by anyone. The information is generic and it is not trying to sell or brand anything. Marketing to students is also important, and it has worked very well for us so far. Paola, that's pretty much what I have to say.
Thank you very much, Glamis. So I realized that I ran a poll earlier that was applicable to you, but I will run the second poll again, which will give the participants an opportunity to give us instant feedback about how they felt about the South Carolina SBA presentation. This will also give you time to prepare questions for any of our speakers, and I know we at least have one. So while the poll is taking place, Sandra, please read the question.
Yeah, Savannah, this question is for you. Could you please clarify the frequency that the MSSB webinars were presented?
So the way we did it at first was we presented one module each week every Wednesday morning. We figured that that would give people more flexibility to be able to do the modules. This time we're going to do it once a month and do different topics each month.
Thank you. And I have another related question for Glamis. Whether the time at which you offer the training has always been that time, or whether you've done some adjustments as you've already facilitated several of these classes and the class is quite long? It takes
yeah, our classes we extended to 3 hours every class since we offer twice per semester, and we have a very strict kind of curriculum because we teach our classes in sequence. or in a series. Yeah, it's 3 hours. So 1 hour is the Money Smart case study, and then we move into the financial projections using the Money Smart sample numbers and transferring to our platform in financial projections.
Thank you, Glamis. And I believe we have time to address one important question that we received during registration. Go ahead, Sandra.
Yes, can you please share any resources you have for people with disabilities?
Thank you for that question. Well, I wanted to share that the FDIC recently published 2 resources that can help facilitate inclusion in the delivery of financial education. One is the Guide to Presenting Money Smart for Adults and the Supplement for Instructors and Trainers, Scenarios of Financial Inclusion. Both resources are downloadable at the FDIC catalog. The Guide for Presenting has a practical information about how to make classes accessible and welcoming to everyone, including people with disabilities. The Scenarios document features 4 individuals with disabilities who are thinking about a financial decision. Each scenario contains thought-provoking questions to spark discussions with participants. So I hope you find that useful. And we want to give people a moment to submit more questions. Otherwise, we will be conducting last poll to get some feedback about topics of interest for 2018. Sandra, go ahead and read a couple of the questions that we received during registration.
Sure. Does the FDIC have grants for organizations or for small businesses?
Thank you for the question. The FDIC is not a grant-making organization. We do not have grants. However, we are aware that many federal agencies provide grants, such as the Small Business Administration. And for that, you can go to the SBA website to look for that information. And I believe 2 programs that the SBA has are the SBDCs and the Women's Business Centers. Nathaniel, do you want to chime in to provide more information about the grants?
Yes, no problem. Thank you, Paula. So SBA does not make direct loans or direct grants to individuals. We have legislatively mandated grants that we give out to our resource partners, and also on our lending side, on our microloans, but SBA does not make any direct grants to folks who are thinking about starting a business or individuals who are already in business.
Thank you. It is so great to have the experts at hand to address the questions.
And then I have one more question that I'm sure everybody would like the answer to, and that is how and where do I subscribe to receive more information about MSSB?
Absolutely. Thank you. As I mentioned earlier, in in the reminders slide, you were able to see all of the websites where you can find information about how to join the Money Smart Alliance and how to download the materials, for which you have 2 options. You have the FDIC catalog website as well as the SBA website. Both of them are easy to remember, www.fdic.gov/MoneySmart or www.sba.gov/MoneySmart. At this point, I want to run the last poll to get some feedback for topics that might be covered next year during our town halls. Thank you so much for participating. Sandra, you can go ahead and read a couple other questions we received while we wait to see the responses.
And how can I start teaching MSSB?
Thank you. Well, anyone can teach MSSB, actually. As we've talked in previous calls, the Money Smart Alliance is currently designed for financial institutions and nonprofit organizations. So for-profit companies usually do not join the Alliance, but anyone can download the materials and anyone can teach. We do know that sometimes the business people in the community, like accountants or insurance agents, like to volunteer in their local chambers of commerce or as a SCORE counselors, or with their SBDCs or women's business centers, and they like to have material that they can use and that is ready to go. So we encourage anyone to download the materials and start teaching anytime they want. We want to remind you that there's a Money Smart for Small Business Train the Trainer curriculum that has been created so that organizations can keep a standard on how they teach their Money Smart training and can use it on an ongoing basis, because we know that the volunteer base changes often, and some organizations like to conduct a Train the Trainer course at least once a year. So those are a few ideas. Well, I would like to ask a couple of questions from Savannah and from Glamis, and maybe Savannah can answer first. And the question I typically have is, how do you get organizations to get involved with Money Smart by potentially sponsoring some of the trainings? And I realize the SBA is a federal agency, so SBA does not necessarily work with the sponsorship. But I don't know if Savannah wants to share about ideas that or experiences that she's had with other organizations as they realize they might want to host Money Smart for a Small Business, or they might need to go in depth into the training. Savannah, do you want to address the question?
Sure, yeah. So SBA can do events where we have sponsors, but we have to do a co-sponsorship agreement depending on how all the branding efforts are done. But when it comes to the Money Smart modules that we do, we're putting on the event ourselves, and then we solicit that expertise from people, or sometimes they have come to me after doing some of the modules and asked if they could participate. So some of it was me going out there, visiting with them, telling them about the Money Smart series. I would usually bring the instructor guide for whatever module I wanted them to be involved in so that they'd get an idea of the presentation and see how they could help. And that's really what I would do and get them excited about it. But then we did have some other people like lawyers and other banks approach us afterwards and ask if they could be involved as well. But we're the ones who are putting on the presentation, and we don't really get a sponsor for our modules.
Thank you, Savannah. And I know that for the SBDC, at least we heard from Glamis that one financial institution provided sponsoring for 1 year. So can you tell us about how you were able to secure that sponsorship and maybe advise about how to go about it? Thank you, Glamis.
Yeah. Yes, we were very grateful that Wells Fargo sponsored the Money Smart for Small Business in class for a full year. And this year, for example, we weren't able to secure any funds. So what happened is great when we have a sponsor, because we can offer them coffee, we can offer them a fancy and nice color-printed handouts. And this last class, basically the handouts were just black, white and black printed. So yeah, that's what happens when we don't have sponsors, and we need the banks, because this actually helps banks because information is just it's great information. And if entrepreneurs follow the instructions and do what is recommended, it's a win situation for the banks.
Thank you so much for that. And once again, I want to thank both Savannah and Glamis for the time they took to prepare this presentation and share their experience. And we are a minute away from the hour. We want to thank everyone for taking time to participate in today's event. We hope that our alliance will grow as a result of today's event. And please be reminded, this has been recorded. And it takes us a little time to post it in our website, because everything we post in our website has to be captioned, so that's what takes a little while. But everybody who registered will be receiving hyperlink with the recording. And at this point, operator, you can end the event, but please stay with us so that we can make sure that we've recorded everybody's answers. Thank you.
This concludes today's conference. Thank you for participating. You may disconnect at this time. Speakers, please stand by for the post-conference.